everyone. Welcome to LOCKBEARD Phenomena number 41. What is above us? It's April 23rd, 2022. When the government finally admits they at least are acknowledging UFOs are real, finally. Who's in chat here? We got Sasquatch, Wizard, and Iron Dex. He says, thank you, sir. We still have a few hours to go before we finally get back to home, sweet home. Awesome, man. Brian Dewey's here. Welcome. Mr. Lee. Cindy Finn. Angel Nolan. Welcome. Jen's here. Welcome. I think most everybody here was on either on Nikki's show last night or in the chat. I fell asleep. It'd been kind of a long day. Judy, welcome. There's Nikki. Welcome. I caught the replay, the end of it on the replay, though. Well, I thought a couple people were about to get mad up in there. Yep. All right, caught up in chat. So this was seen the other day. And folks thought it was a UFO. Yep, Sandra was on there too. Finally see Sandra. So I'll play this video here real quick.
Okay, did you see it? Reports of strange lights in the sky have the internet abuzz tonight. The long, thin, white line of lights were reported here at Romulus and Grosse Pointe, even as far away as Pittsburgh and Chicago.
All right, so here's what some experts are thinking about. Meteor activity picks up a bit during April as it becomes active during this time of the month. However, it could also be the new batch of Starlink satellites launched into space earlier today. So definitely not Captain Kirk and Starship Enterprise, right?
Yeah, what about Martians?
Look at him. Here he goes.
And that's what I call a close encounter. More than likely, it's something burning up. That's what it looked like to me there. But a lot of people did see it through Ontario, Ohio, Pennsylvania.
Well, what do y'all think? Let's see here. Get this other deal shared up here. Mr. Lee says, Cindy, gorgeous and kind lady is Sandra. Yep. All that and more. So what do you guys think that was? Have any of y'all heard about this particular sighting? Because, I mean, because it didn't like take off at any unbelievable speeds, you know, I tend to think that something like this is something more mundane. Mr. Lee says, there is no doubt, Lockbeard, they're watching us from above, man. Somebody's watching. But who is it, you know? But, I mean, in this case here, though, I don't, you know, it seems that they have confirmed it was not a UFO. Brian says, Sandra was the first to say hi to me in my first chat as well. True, sweetheart. You know, she gives you the big candy bars at Halloween. Yeah. Cindy says it's a nail in a miniature with glow powder on. not quite what they say here. We'll play this next news story about it.
World is that? Yep, that's the question many people who witnessed these lights in the sky last night are asking. In fact, our newsroom not only got several emails and videos like this one you're seeing, they also had several phone calls wondering that same thing. Joining us now is Michelle Nichols, Director of Public Observing at the Adler Planetarium, to give us all the details on this. Michelle, what is this?
Well, we got some notifications too. So what this is a string of Starlink satellites that were launched by SpaceX on the 21st. And once they got up into space, they started to be released, and they kind of string out in a line. And so people saw them not too long after they started stringing out, which was pretty neat.
That is really cool. So what exactly is this, as far as like what's its purpose and why was it up there?
So SpaceX has been launching what is called a constellation of satellites. They're going to have several thousand of these satellites when the constellation is finished, but they launched 53 of them. And so the goal of these satellites is to provide internet coverage, and so satellite internet coverage, eventually global satellite internet coverage, but they're starting with the few dozen countries where it's been licensed so far.
Interesting. So unfortunately, this is not a sign of extraterrestrial life, as some people may have been expecting to hear.
No, these unidentified flying objects are actually identified flying objects.
That is awesome. Now, you guys at the Adler Planetarium recently opened your doors as well to welcome people back. What can people expect when they go and visit you guys there?
Yeah, so we are back open. We've just had such a great response from the public. The one thing I really want to point out is something a little bit new for us. We are obligated to provide 52 free general admission days a year. What's new for us is we're doing it on Wednesday nights.
Hey.
So we invite folks to get tickets. If you're an Illinois resident, general admission is free on Wednesday nights. Just shows are extra if you want to see a planetarium show.
So there you have it. Just Starlink satellites. Mr. Lee, I don't if they're here, I don't think they would come all the way here and not be, sending away missions Star Trek style. Maybe a little more careful than they were in Star Trek. Welcome, Mark Dobman. Welcome, Chessboard. And chat's a moving on me here. There's Ernie. Welcome. Let's see who else is here. Mr. Lee says the Queen is reptilian. Telling you. I just don't know. She just looks like an old lady to me, man. Yep. I don't know. I'm not. I just don't. I'm not buying the reptilian stuff. I mean, I think that TV show V came out, and anytime a show comes out with some kind of weirdness like that, there ends up being a bunch of people out there who get all invested in it and attached to the whole idea, and they think it's so cool that they want it to be real. And then next thing you know, they're finding excuses that somehow the show that they saw was reality. And of course that opens a whole box about human psychology and why such a phenomena exists, where people hear a story and then they want to make it real. They want to act it out. So I think there is a valid evolutionary thing going on there. It's just that, unfortunately, people can run with it too much and start thinking that things are real that aren't real. And then next thing you know, people think the queen is a reptilian. And when there was never any proof of reptilians shaped just enough like a human that they could masquerade it, how convenient that they're shaped just like us. Well, it was real damned convenient for the TV show, but that was just a TV show. And how anyone could think that could be reality is beyond me. Possibility, sure, anything's possible almost, but the existence of the TV show V and the existence of this conspiracy theory about reptilians is a little too convenient. So I would advise, if people think they're reptilians, stop showing me video. Well, look, see their eyes. No, find me some real evidence. Find me some real evidence. When you got some flubbed up video, something that maybe been meddled with and manipulated, no, that's not going to cut it. If you want me to even begin to consider that reptilians, this whole thing is real, you gotta come up with some, like, you gotta come up with a body for reptilians way before you gotta come up with a body for Bigfoot with me. To me, Bigfoot's real, pretty much. I'm not 100%, but there's actual footprints. There's so many sightings. I mean, I gotta say no to reptilians. Brian says smash the like. Thanks, Brian. Or was that Chewy's idea? Jen says all is good, Mark. Let's see here. "96 wrinkles happen." Mr. Lee at 96 wrinkles. Yeah. V, yes, fantastic show. Yeah, I mean, don't you see what I'm saying? Like, it's too bad we can't hit a rewind on reality, go back in time, and then stop the TV show V from ever happening. And then I almost guarantee 100% that you would see that the whole reptilian conspiracy theory would never exist. I think its origin is entirely out of that TV show. People just, it's just like kids. Kids hear a story and then they want to act out the part. And I think that's part of human evolution. It goes back to thousands of years, sitting around the fire, munching on some mammoth flesh, nice and raw, and definitely no vegan sides with it. and they would tell stories, and after so many thousands of years of that, it became part of our psyche. It's something that's why when people fiddle with movies that people love and like remake them or make sequels that scramble everything up and screw it up, it's an attack on the psyche of people that like the story. And so it's a very real attack on the people that they use, these far leftists, these Hollywood retards. They are attacking people with movies psychologically. It's not a physical attack, it's a psychological attack, because they may not understand it in the way I'm trying to put in the words here, but they do understand it's an attack. They may not understand the full mechanism, but they do understand it's an attack, and they are attacking you. At least people who like certain types of movies. Which, what are they looking at? They're going for specifically certain demographics. They, Caucasian, white, straight, so on. They're attacking those things. So they look for what kind of movies those people typically watch, and then they start to destroy it and deconstruct it and just jack with it. So it's a legitimate part of the psyche. So if people would try to understand that, and then see how these some of these conspiracy theories come to be with no evidence whatsoever. There is no evidence for this reptilian crap. You know, there's just none. No one's been able to show me squat. Oh, look at this video. That video ain't telling me shit. I don't know if it's been manipulated. I don't know if it was just a trick of the light. You know, they see something in someone's eyes. They're like, look, see? No. You need to bring me a body of a reptilian before I'm gonna. I mean, we get something, just something. Sasquatch Wizard says, hello to all. I gotta keep driving, but hanging with you. Juice says, Lockbeard, do you think all those mountains in Colorado have been bases all along? Oh, I don't know. It you know, anything could be hiding in those mountains, so there's a lot of space out there. Mr. Lee says, Cindy, she is 1,000 years old, really. She's not 1,000. Come on, Mr. Lee. So Charles and Andrew were once reptilian eggs she laid. I know a reptilian when I see one. How do you know, Mr. Lee? Come on, man. Explain to me how they're shaped like humans when we have nothing in the fossil record indicating that. Now you could try to say, well, they're aliens, which is what the people, I think, for the most part, are going for. Although I think some of them are trying to say they are something that evolved from dinosaurs and lived till today. Now here's the problem. Like there was some years back, somebody created this image, right, of what they thought a dinosaur might evolve into if it evolved into, and it was humanoid in shape. They took a dinosaur and molded it a lot closer to what a human is shaped like, and said that's what they'll evolve into. That is not what evolution is or means. Evolution does not mean you're evolving towards what humans are. Because people think, oh, well, humans are supposed to be the most advanced things that evolved. Therefore, everything is advancing towards something like human. No, that is not what evolution is. That is not remotely true. And to call humans the most advanced evolved thing ever is just ridiculous. We have, as far as we know, developed the greatest intelligence, but we aren't the greatest at a whole lot of things. There are other species that are. Everything has the same amount of time of evolution behind it as we do. To call us more advanced than other things is, you got to be specific about a particular trait might be very advanced. But we've been on, our ancestors go back to the beginning of this planet, and the ancestors of fungi go back to the very beginning of this planet. Everything started at the same time on this planet. So it's just, I think people are thinking, it's funny how they thought dinosaurs would evolve into something that looked like humans. There's no reason to think that. There's a whole lot of very specific environmental conditions that would be required to mold them into that form, and it would be hard because the reptilian body plan isn't even something, as far as reptiles, is very different from the great apes that we evolved from. So for something like that to evolve into this, it would take a lot more work. Well, that's not a good word for it. It would take a lot more to mold it into something like us. It's a completely ridiculous idea. I'm sorry. There's just nothing to support this reptilian crap, and to think that they would evolve into something that would be shaped like humans is just it's just somebody's wishful thinking. Somebody wanted to, try and push their fantasy. Yeah, some of them call them Anunnaki. Shifty eyes. Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah, she might be. She plays one on TV. Jen says, Mr. Lee, you should be seeing Tom. You should seeing Tom Cruise is reptilian. There are 2 reptilians in this Bigfoot community I've identified so far. Yes. Oh, who? Come on, Mr. Lee. You don't really buy into this reptilian stuff, do you? Mr. Lee says, Jen, I know, but he has some cool stuff. Testa Rosa Ferrari. Huh? Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, you been watching Johnny Depp trial? I've watched some parts of it. My interest in it's not enough to make me watch all of it, But it's a good thing it's happening. It shows that physical and psychological abuse can come from the female in a relationship, not just the male. And it sure does look like in her case that she was very abusive. That whole thing where she said, why you act like a baby? And it's again, we're in a society where a man is supposed to not, strike a woman, but a woman can sit there and say things like that, because she's trying to shame him and belittle him, and he can't do anything about it. If that was a man, we know where it would go. But these women know that they're mostly safe and they can say whatever bullshit they want and there'd be no repercussions. So I'm glad she's in court. Now, how much it really harms her, I don't know. I'm just saying we're in a weird time where not all women are acting like that, but some of them are. They're taking advantage of the situation where we're not in the Stone Age anymore, where if Amber Heard tried that shit in the Stone Age, she might not have survived. I mean, let's be real. Every other species on this planet uses physical reprimands when an individual is being disruptive in their herd, their pack. I mean, watch what dogs do. If you got a dog that's acting up, if you want to speak its language, grab it by the throat and growl at it. It'll understand that. That's a dog telling another dog, hey, you're messing up and you got to stop. There's physical reprimands. Well, we don't have that in our society coming from males to females. And we very much did as a species, though, in the wild state. And because we don't now, and that wild breeding it's not gone, we still got the same DNA. So what are some women doing, like Amber Heard? They just keep going and going. She hit him. She psychologically abused him, and it wasn't stopping. And he had to get that. He had to get away from that. I mean, she shit the fucking bed. And do you know what? Now, look, a lot of people. Look, I'm not advocating violence here. I'm just saying, Stone Age, she would have been co-cocked, and she probably would have just fucking stopped. Modern times, she's not getting co-cocked. And now there's just this whole long thing. It's lasted for years. It's going to court, and it's this whole mess. So I don't know what the answer is. All I know is when I'm faced, if I've been in situations not exactly like that, but I've been in those situations, and I just get the fuck away. Just leave. That's all you can do. But the problem still remains. You have this person here who isn't acting right. And somebody needs to change. Something needs to make them change. There needs to be some kind of punishment for the behavior. I can't do it. I'm not the law. The law ain't going to do it. Nobody's going to do anything about it. So you got all these people running around acting like psychopaths because there's no consequences at all. Not that those consequences have to be violence. I'm just saying there has to be some kind of consequences when someone's just acting out, just completely out of line like she was. And at least Johnny's able to take her to court and try what he's doing, and he may have been a dipshit to some extent, but we may not know, we may never know the entire story, so I don't know how much I want. That's a little weird tangent to go on though, but for aliens, Jim Carrey will clue Tom in. Not yet. He says, I have to be Scientology for use. All an act on all sides, you think? Oh, no, Mr. Lee, it's not worth it. Mr. Lee says, Jen, I know. I told him no, but he keeps coming back. No good then. New Mexico land and immensely packed with fossil records. That place is unreal. You talking about maybe White Sands? Footprints, older. They found human footprints in America pushing, because the mainstream, they think we humans only been here, maybe up to 13,000 years or something like that. Well, these footprints are definitely dating back older than that. So, of course, the mainstream's like, oh, it's not possible, blah, blah, blah. But I think it really is true. I can't remember who was saying it. Was saying that because the mainstream anthropologist said humans weren't here before this time, and so no one would really dig deeper and find out. They didn't want to do it. Does it hurt to dig deeper and find out? Does it hurt at all? Try and look, damn it. But they didn't want to. They didn't want to. Some didn't. Donald Fuller. What's going on, man? Mr. Lee says, maybe Lockbeard, you are a reptilian. I assure you I'm not. I assure you, Mr. Lee, I am not. Donald says, Mr. Lee, you good today? Seemed a little triggered last night. Was he triggered? Meredith says, Lockbeard, hello. Mr. Lee, everyone. Hope the show's going well. Hope all's going well. Your day's going well. Mine was. Got some more bees today. So that was cool. Mr. Lee says, Donald, I'm good. Tired these days, though. No sleep. He says, Mr. Lee, are you waking up at a certain time? Judy says, absolutely, there's crazies among us. Mr. Lee says, Judy, there is no certain time for me, unfortunately. Deal with something there. Meredith says, Jen, hello. Judy, they're okay. Dizzy hands, I'm listening. You go days without sleep, huh? That's not good. Shirley says, Meredith, you take your dog to the vet yet? Mr. Lee says, Donald, yes, I nod off for a bit, but that's it for some days. Donald says, my life story, all in that Simpsons clip. Is that your life story? Wizard says, Lockbeard, Bart, don't. Well, I grabbed that clip and put it on here just for Donald. He said that well, he just said, it's that demonstrates his life, I guess. So this is over on alienUFOsightings.com. Talking about the Pentagon just released its UFO report. Hotly anticipated declassified report on the unidentified aerial phenomena, which are essentially a wordy rebranding of unidentified flying objects. So they're, for whatever reason, they want to start calling UFOs UAPs instead, which in a way it might be more appropriate, because an aerial phenomena may not be an object necessarily, but so it might be a better term, but I don't think the term UFO is ever gonna go away. 9-page document. Heads admitted they can't explain vast majority. Anyway, this is just going over. Y'all have already seen this stuff. But yeah, and really nobody really seems to care. Like, you think this would be, people be talking about this everywhere, like, holy shit, UFOs are real. No, nobody seems to give a damn, other than people that are, us in this, that are interested in these kind of things. So I don't know what the deal is.
Well, thousands of previously classified documents regarding UFOs have now been released to the public. And some of the stories include alien abductions, electrical paralysis, and even sexual encounters.
Yeah, just some bizarre stuff. Fox 35's William Lajeunesse has the shocking details from this 1,500-page report.
Pilots tracking unidentified objects, balls of light suspended over the ocean, UFOs chasing warships, all part of a growing body of sightings of UAPs, or unidentified aerial phenomena.
My gosh, they're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west.
Now comes something even more explosive, a 1,500-page Pentagon report of previously classified documents cataloging accounts from witnesses and victims claiming radiation burns, brain damage, even paralysis after close encounters with UAPs.
This is the most haunting of all the reports from my perspective, because it shows immunological deficiency. It shows altering human DNA. It shows degradation on a cellular level.
Prepared in 2010 by the Pentagon's secret Advanced Aerospace Weapons Program, the report was released only after a Freedom of Information request. It found sufficient incidents, accidents have been accurately reported, and medical data acquired as to support a hypothesis that some advanced systems are already deployed and opaque to full U.S. understandings.
This is from within the documents themselves.
The report says humans have been injured from exposure to UFOs, from abductions and perceived time loss to sexual encounters and unexplained pregnancies.
We're talking about an area where there is intervention with the human being on such a level that it's beyond just negative health effects. Some of this stuff is really bizarre.
So what's next? While this program ended in 2010, Corbell says the Pentagon continues to study UFOs And more military videos and documents are likely to be released this year. The response from the Pentagon. In Los Angeles.
Yeah, they made a mockery of it. Get some footage, Mr. Lee. Get some footage of it. Whatever you see. Cindy Finn says, have there been unidentified objects seen in ocean by submarines? Some of the UFOs have been seen going in. Yeah. They say they seem to be able to transition smoothly and without a problem between air and water. Since about 1947. Well, like there's been some speculation that before, in times past where people didn't really, like before people, if you took a car back to the Middle Ages and drove it through London, they'd probably think it was a dragon or some shit. People might have seen things and understood it in a different way. What was that book? Graham Hancock, I think, wrote called Chariots of the Gods. So where, like, if you're seen in a vehicle, they might, and your vehicle isn't drawn by horses, they might interpret it as a chariot. It's a magical chariot. And you must be a god if you're driving it. So, there's a lot of possibility there. I don't know. I mean, another thing could be is that it has been a phenomenon of recent years, and that what we're seeing is something invented by our own government and other governments on the planet. So I don't know. But, it's, you don't want to go back. You don't want to read too much into what the ancients wrote down necessarily, because sometimes things can go too far. For example, I saw one thing actually last night. Somebody brought up, depictions in Egyptian hieroglyphs or whatnot of, these, wolf-headed or jackal-headed humanoids, and there's a lot of people that are taking that to mean, oh, see, people were seeing Dogman back in the day. And, like, for one, look, again, this could be something straight out of just their imagination for all we know. It could be someone wearing the, like, tall one said, wearing a pelt and with the head on it. I forget what you call that. And, it's not. It should. You shouldn't just automatically go to thinking that's literally a thing. It could be symbolic. You just don't know what it really is. You were talking about some Bronze Age goat herding, people that had a lot of weird ideas about stuff and worship strange gods and, mummified their dead. I mean, you can't take that as proof of Dogman. And we don't have for Dogman what we have for Bigfoot, right? We don't have footprints. We don't have near as many sightings. We don't know how many. I mean, I would almost. Well, I'm not gonna try and guess how many Dogman sightings that are reported are actually straight up lies. Some of them, maybe people's just their imagination running away with them. They could be misidentifying thing, but we don't have any footprints that have really been I authenticated in the slightest, at least with Bigfoot footprints. We have Jeff Meldrum, and being an expert in hominid prints, he's probably one of the best resources we got for determining whether a print is real or not, and does it exhibit traits that would indicate that it is real. We don't have that for Dogman. Dogman don't even make any damn sense. There's nothing in the fossil record to indicate that an upright dog ever evolved, or an upright wolf or canid of any kind. There's nothing. Bigfoot is basically just a big hairy human. There is very little leaping to be made to think, okay, well, that could just been an offshoot of us. No problem. It would make sense. Especially like when I was talking about the Paleolithic, everything was big. So if humans came over on this continent, there might have been just the right trigger for them, because there were big stuff elsewhere. But when you change environments, a lot of times it can trigger. It does. It always triggers some change. So it may have triggered them to go ahead and start to become big themselves, because bigger humans would have been better able to survive the megafauna, the large wildlife. It'd been easier for them to kill big prey and to defend against big predators, and there were some big badass predators. So it makes sense. Sasquatch fits in the natural world and what we know. Dogman don't fit it at all. So so when people go reaching into freaking Egyptian imagery, you're reaching hard. You need to get some real damn evidence, or stop bringing up that Egyptian crap, because it doesn't prove shit. It don't. But yeah. Wizard says, Donald, don't sweat the little things. Good things will come your way. Yep. California. Judy says, sounds like you're in a hot spot for some reason, Mr. Lee. All the crows still around. Wing of the crow in the garden this morning. What that mean? A wing of a crow? Somebody's casting a spell on you. Roswell, good example. Yeah. Entire wing of a crow in your garden. Yeah, that's kind of a weird thing to find in your garden, Mr. Lee. Something, I mean, where's the rest of it? Donald says, Mr. Lee, growing up, crows wouldn't come within 100 yards of us. Now they don't get shot at. They are less afraid of us. Yes, this morning. I think, what is it over there on the Isle of Man where, was it crows? I want to say it's crows. Where I think they were trying to reintroduce something along those lines. And then what started happening is they started attacking the baby sheep. And they would peck the eyes out of a baby sheep when only its head was hanging out the back of its mother during birth. They killed the baby sheep. They killed the lambs before they were through being birthed. It was insane. And of course, you got these, environmentalists. This is where environmentalists piss everyone off. I'm saying this as an environmentalist. Stop being idiots. When you got an animal killing your livestock before they're born, you screwed up. And you need to let the farmers do what they need to do to protect their livestock, which means shooting those birds that are attacking their livestock, and reintroducing them in some areas. Follow you all day. Yeah, they're waiting for you to die, Mr. Lee, so they can eat you. Symbolize wisdom. Jen says, Mr. Lee sounds like a cat caught a crow. Could be. They want his herb. That makes a lot of sense because you're a genius. Wizard says, natives here in Americas believe the crow symbolized wisdom and said they could speak in some sort of way as they believed. You're a number one man. Cindy says the Egyptian hieroglyphs are just another culture's way to communicate their writing system. Yeah, people are reading way too much into that. Oh, see, Dogman. Shut the fuck up. It don't. No, that's not even. Man, I already ranted on it. Never mind. The Killing Lodge talking about the caverns. The Killing Lodge. I may not be familiar with this particular archaeological site. Danny, welcome. Heard that when the crows are around, the veil is thin. Meredith says May 26th, the dog goes. Thanks for asking. Donald says Miss Steele was triggered about why we don't believe in Dogman last night. Yeah, that's kind of what brought it up in my mind, because I keep seeing people bring up the damn Egyptian thing, and then Dogman and Bigfoot are two totally different things. There's no reason to criticize someone who believes Bigfoot is real, who doesn't believe Dogman is real. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's like saying, I don't know. Oh, you believe that there's thylacines still in Australia, but you don't believe there's pink elephants running around in South America? What's wrong with you? They're two totally different things. There's two totally different levels of sightings and of evidence. Dogman having pretty much nothing in the realm of evidence. Show me something solid, you dipshits. Something. But there's nothing. But we got footprints all over the damn place for Bigfoot. And we have a lot more sightings. A lot more. They're not two. They don't compare. They're not the same. There is no reason to think that someone should have to accept Dogman is real if they accept Sasquatch is real. That's absolutely just completely ridiculous. So she may have been triggered by that. Well, I'm triggered by her being triggered by that, because it's a ridiculous thing to think that someone who is pretty certain that Sasquatch exists should also believe in Dogman. Bullshit. Dogman don't have shit for evidence. Stop coming at us with that Dogman shit. Take that shit over to DDoS and Dark Waters and fucking Texas Channel and every other dipshit out there that believes this shit and can't produce one piece of goddamn evidence for it. Stop harassing us about fucking Dogman. Egyptian hieroglyphs. Kiss my ass. God damn it. It's just ridiculous. They're two totally different goddamn things. They're on two totally different levels of believability, and then two totally different levels of evidence. One having precisely dick for evidence, and the other one having quite a bit, really. It's just goddamn ridiculous that we have to deal with this shit. Big love for Meredith, says Mr. Lee. Daily Dan. Oh, yeah, he's on his other account there. Alfred Hitchcock. Wizard says crows are amazing birds, and I pay absolute attention to them always. They remember you for years, so be nice. Yeah. Cats bring presents. Yeah. Had many moons ago. Crows can be taught to talk. Yeah. Explain Dogman, Lockbeard. I think it's just a bunch of bullshit. I think, Mr. Lee. I think it's just a bunch of bullshit. If someone really believes they saw Dogman, they might need to like try to learn more about wildlife. Maybe they misidentified something. You know. Cindy says, but in defense of Miss Steele, she can believe in Dogman if she chooses. It shouldn't have gone that far. Yeah, she can believe whatever she wants, but she believes something that has dick for evidence and believes that the Egyptians bullshit that they put on their walls is somehow evidence for Dogman. It's not. It's not at all. That's awesome. Chessboard says Wizard. Donald says, Mr. Lee, I have crows in my yard all the time because my mother feeds the birds next door. Don't sweat them. Jen says, oh my God, I love this phrase. What's wrong with you? Mr. Lee says, Donald, it's all the time with these crows, though. A nuisance is something, but this is weird, man. Well, are they overpopulated? Are they even supposed to be in the area? Are you allowed to shoot them? Of course, where you're at, are you guys even allowed to? I don't even know exactly what your gun laws are. From what I understand, you guys don't really have much of a right to be armed over there. Cindy Finn says, can we agree that maybe we argue things to death and let everyone believe wherever they want? I don't know. Yeah, argument, debate is kind of how people sort things out. You know, it's kind of necessary. I mean, if you just let flat earthers keep doing what they're doing, they're going to keep infecting the minds of the young, thus sabotaging the education of young people, which is a crime in my book. That's just not cool. You know, you got people sabotaging the education of young people who are getting online and finding this flat earth bullshit, and this is a crime. You mess up their minds and their thinking. You could have destroyed that person's entire future by interfering with a proper education. Now, our education system is not that great. It needs work, but at least they're not teaching them flat earth. I mean, it's just absolute ridiculous shit that only trolls, maybe some government agents are involved trying to cause disruption and who knows what, and then a few idiots, you know, who get in these debates. They always want to debate, but they never seem to understand that they got totally and completely destroyed in the debate every single time. Or if you're starting to get them cornered, they'll change the subject real quick. They keep changing the subject. Oh, but this. No, let's go back to this thing I was tearing apart for you just a moment ago, Mr. Flat Earther. Your ridiculous bullshit. So I don't know. I mean, I think that argument's necessary for humans to sort things out. Because if we don't, you know, shit happens like holy wars and jihads and you know, Nazi Germany. You know, you gotta push back. You gotta argue. You gotta put a stop to bullshit before it gets too far. Things could get really, really bad. I mean, if these flat earthers get too crazy, you don't think that eventually there'll be one of them saying, you know what we need to do? We need to exterminate all the globe earth believers. I guarantee you some of them are going to come up with that idea. Why? Because there's someone in almost every fringe or somewhat extreme or really out of the ordinary ideology, there's always someone who comes along and says, you know what, we should just kill everyone that doesn't agree with us. I mean, we've seen it happen multiple times in history. It's happening today in various parts in the world. So yeah, I see these flat earthers as a legitimate threat to the to lives. Eventually, sooner or later, they could become a threat against people's lives. But so far at the moment, they are a threat to the speed of advancement of humanity. They're actually slowing it down, because some people that are otherwise, pretty smart and may make great strides in real science if they didn't get veered off on the wrong track. Like, we need to get them back on the right track somehow. It's like, teach them, logical reasoning, objective thought, critical thinking, which has become a bad word now, I guess. These flat earthers are extremely dangerous, and we must fight them. We must fight them and put an end to their bullshit. They're what they're doing is damn near critical or criminal, really, at this point, especially if they infect the mind of a kid. If they do that, they're sabotaging that kid's education, and that is criminal. Julie says maybe Sasquatch cuts the head off of a wolf and wear it like a trophy, perhaps. Or you're assuming that people actually saw something with a dog head on it. Like, we don't know that for a fact. We just don't. They have a bunch of people making claims. And so far nobody's been able to bring any facts, any real evidence that the thing even exists. Angel says, Mr. Lee, there must be a food source nearby. Angel is one big food source. London is one big food source. London. You remember that movie, An American Werewolf in London? See, we're getting back into another, a movie. I wonder how many people could swear they saw a Bigfoot, or what a lot are calling Dogman now after seeing a werewolf movie. School system already messed up with the Common Core crap. Yeah, that's probably criminal too. It's an offensive. But debating, we need the foreign questions that the other side cannot answer for debate. I'm all for debating. Yeah, it's better if it's kept orderly like a debate. But half the time you go to try and see a debate, like you go over the Modern Day Debate channel, it's like these people don't understand, how to have a proper debate. One side will a lot of the time, but the other side, is the ones that are making the crazy claims, especially, won't. The really sucks at the flat earthers. It's just distressing to watch them sometimes, because they'll just keep flipping to a different point when you start to corner their point. And you can corner every single point, but they'll either just deny it is a real point. They just won't accept it, even though anyone watching can see it's a real and logical and perfectly legit point. But they'll just deny it, or they'll try to jump to a different point. They don't want to talk about it anymore. You cannot let the flat earthers guide the discussion in a debate, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Do not let them flip the script. Do not let them change the subject. You rub their noses in the fact that you destroyed the point that they were just trying to make. Donald says, I think Richter is going to be interesting on Nikki's show tomorrow. Going to be up to her Rick Dyer interview. They're going to be talking about that. I wonder if Steve Coles would come in for an argument with him. Cindy Finn says, Donald, I can't wait for Nikki's show tomorrow. Judy says, Mr. Lee, is there old trees around you? Does it have mold or decay bugs? Discernment people have none. Ruthless, welcome. Moonbat idiots. Mr. Lee says, Donald Coles gets on my nerves a bit, just saying. Meat sex. Sandra, welcome. It's good to see you on the show, on Nikki's show last night. She says, hi, chat. Sorry I'm so late. Cindy says, hey, Ruthless, discernment is crucial. She okay? Ernie says, global warming extreme nuts say people who do not believe should lose their right to vote. Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about right there. You don't think flat earthers are going to start trying to pull some of the same bullshit because some people start saying that we need to do something to people that won't believe. If you don't believe that you should take a jab because you don't trust it, right? Because you know that shit needs to be tested. I need to be careful how much I say about that. But they want to take your rights away if you won't comply and do what they tell you to do. Every group wants to control you, and that's why groups that don't really want to control you, they just want you, want you to just stop jacking with them. That's why a lot of times they find themselves the ones getting attacked and destroyed and getting their rights taken away and sometimes getting exterminated, is because they really need to be more aggressive to fight back against the others who are going to be aggressive towards them. Mr. Lee says, Donald, I'm not sure. Something about that dude I don't like, man. Judy says, Native Americans, First Nations can answer the wolf head dressings. Maybe. I saw a modern day debate piss me off. Yeah, it turns into a shit show too much. Like the moderator doesn't, it's great. It's cool channel and stuff like that. But I mean, he really needs, the moderator needs to step in and say, hey, wait a minute. Why are you veering off? Why are you trying to jump off from this particular topic point? They really need to have an outline saying, look, we're spending this 5 minutes to address this issue, this particular point. We're not veering off this point until the time's up on the point. If I find someone's trying to run up the clock with a bunch of just talking and reiterating the same thing over and over again, or whatever tactic they're using, then we'll stop and give more time to the other person to talk. And then no talking over each other. Damn it, I hate it when people do that. Don't talk over each other. Someone else is talking, don't interrupt them. Don't talk over them. You're trying to, it's another tactic they use where they're trying to make it where people didn't quite, intently listen to what you were saying. They couldn't because you were here talking, so their attention split. You're trying to disrupt their ability to absorb what this person's saying because what that person is saying is proving you wrong. That's they may not consciously think this, but they do it. So that shit needs to be nipped in the bud. Ruthless says, yep, Cindy, too bad people enjoy confirmation biases. Yep. Finn actually just woke up. Napped early for a change. Jen says, yes, Cinder been doing the show with Joe, then Nikki's. I've been whooped all day. Yeah. So Joe had a show. Do y'all had a show last night? Because I didn't get back. I didn't get back here until Pat was on. Because of the honeybees. Donald says, Mr. Lee, I like Steve. He sent me a signed book for free after I asked him if I could buy a signed copy. Didn't want the penny. Oh, man. That's cool of him. Mr. Lee says, Donald, that's cool, but still have a feeling about him, though. Ruther says, Florists won't ever stop. They see their reality. If idiocy will go away, be way of lack of agreement. Judy says, it's a huge debate, and it's divided us up on the plane/planet. Yeah, I mean, that's why, I suspect that there may be government agents involved to cause more disruption, more division. So, but we can't just let it go because it'll spread. It must be stamped out wherever it is found. Doing 2 shows. Mid-South, welcome. 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. That's a lot of time on the screen. Garaz Hopper, welcome. Wash some dishes. Jen says, yes, we did one on the picture of Rasta. I did. The similarities and differences people may have seen in their encounters and some of the comments that we got on Facebook. Oh, that was, you talking about Tuesday. Wasn't that on, or sorry, Wednesday. Wasn't that Wednesday? So what else we got? We got this. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. Don't look like a ship or anything. It looks like a spiral galaxy is what it looks like. But there may be a perfectly logical explanation for it. Could be CGI. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Ruthless, you dishwasher, says Mr. Lee. Jen says, no, LOCKBEARD. We did a Joe says, wait a minute, like, what last night? Okay, yeah. All right, that's what I thought you meant originally, but okay, I remember seeing talk of the Rasta pictures and seeing them, so I got a little confused there for a second. Last night Joe did another one. I gotta go check my mom. Be back. All right, Donald. Mr. Lee says, what about Yowie? LOCKBEARD, we never hear about Yowie. Well, I mean, it's, you got to talk to Australians. I mean, they're on the other side of the world. They're kind of off on their own. I mean, the legend originated somewhere, but I don't know what to make of it. Now, I don't see why Sasquatch couldn't have made it to Australia. You know, humans got all over the place. Why can't Sasquatch? You know, especially if they are human, like I think they are. Someone was trying to pronounce that the other day. I was like, because I was giving Sasquatch the name that I think it should be named, because it should be named after me, right? Well, as soon as I bring back that evidence, if I ever get the funding where I could do some actual like I need the you can't just go, you just can't walk, because people are like, just go out there and you'll see it. I'm like, no, look, you're thinking what your goal is. Your goal is to have a personal experience, and that's it. My goal is to prove they exist, and to where no one can deny it anymore. And now I know some people don't like that. I don't know what to tell you. I don't care. Because I think it'd be far better if they are proven. Humans like mysteries, but we need to solve the damn mysteries sometimes so we can move on to other mysteries. And, you know, if we never solve the damn mystery, like it's been around for a long time, it's about damn time we solve the mystery. And when we do, when I do, assuming I did, and that's why I put that name in there, Homo sapiens subspecies Salisburyensis. Because, and I just want to make sure. Look, when people go looking back, well, who was it that was saying that they thought this thing was in fact the same species as us, just another race? Oh, it was this guy. This LOCKBEARD fella. Who the fuck is this guy? How did he figure this out? We need to talk to him. And then I'll be like, well, how big a check are you offering to talk to me, motherfuckers? because to me, it's obvious as hell. It's amazing to me that so many people are actually resistant to the idea that, based on the observations we have and the physical evidence that we have, that these are almost certainly the same species as us. But I don't know, Mr. Lee, I ain't heard anything about no yowie in a while. Probably need to go poking around for that. It's probably pretty rare. And there's also an issue. Look, Australia's habitat has been jacked up quite a bit by the introduction of species that do not belong there. And, like dingoes. Australia, you guys need to shoot all the damn dingoes. I'm sorry, the dingoes got to go. They don't belong there. They're just a fucking dog. They're just a mutt. Y'all turn dogs loose, and then if there's any thylacine left, those dingoes are competing with the thylacine for the same food sources. If you want to make sure that if there are any left, that they aren't being challenged unnecessarily, you need to get rid of this predator you brought there that don't belong there. Kill all the dingoes. The camels, same thing. You guys need to get out there and do something about the damn camels. You can sell the damn meat, or probably even sell live animals. Round them all up. You can do it. Just do it. And get the damn camels out of there. There's not supposed to be camels there. The rabbits are going to be really hard to deal with. But you need to do something. You need to try. I don't know. That's going to be a little harder to get rid of. Cindy says, I have to admit I don't run into flat earthers, and so I made an educated guess what they were about. I didn't realize they are extremists. Well, I mean, they have. I'm not saying necessarily that they are yet, but the potential is there, is what I'm saying. Grasshopper says, Lock, that's a rocket taking off. Seen the swirls before. Cool. So we got an explanation there. And I think there's some people comment on that particular piece of footage saying just that. I don't know. I think there's been some stories out of Africa of something that might be interpreted to be Sasquatch. Got some rest from yesterday. Took a nap, but I'm still dragging. An awesome premiere. Judy says, absolutely, everyone's been everywhere. Grasshopper says, lazy Saturday, but coffee. Let me do some dishes, change the sheets, pulled up an old internet cable halfway. Now I'm sitting here. Jen says, Judy, I'm just happy he liked the drawing that much, and it's brought up some interesting things for people. You say no to shooting Mr. Lee, they're mutts. They're just dogs. And they're out there attacking native wildlife. And if they are, and they almost certainly are, competing with thylacine, if there's any thylacine left. There's been a few people, there seems to be some sightings that may be credible that thylacine is still alive. And if it is, the pressure must be taken off of them entirely. Those dingoes have to go. Because the native predator that belongs there is the thylacine in that particular niche. And those dingoes do not belong there. Dingoes got to go. I mean, if you want to keep a few alive for whatever reason, but they're nothing special. They are just a goddamn mutt. They're a dog. They're a mongrel dog. I still here. Camel milk is beneficial for babies with certain allergies. Yeah, they're useful. Like if they wanted to keep some in captivity, but they need to make for damn sure they don't get out, because now they got millions of these things running around the desert causing all kinds of shit. And because they turned them loose, they're running wild. So they got to round up those camels, and then if they keep them in captivity, they need to make for damn sure they stay in captivity. Every animal individually tracked with a collar or something, or at least the females or something, so that they cannot, if they do somehow get out, that they can't, that they can be tracked down so they don't breed in the wild. Donald Fuller says, I think that FLIR footage of the Yowie is compelling. Gives me hope there might be something to it. Grasshopper says, dingoes and rabbits introduced. Yeah. And a lot of stuff. Like the cane toad. And there's some other stuff down there. It's just like Florida. They introduced a bunch of crap in Florida, don't belong there, and now it's causing shit. Mr. Lee loves to eat rabbit. I love to eat grasshopper. When I was a teenager, I raised rabbits for a while. We ate some smoked rabbit here and there. I'm not interested in eating them these days, though, Mr. Lee, because there's no fat on a rabbit. You ever heard of rabbit starvation? Like, you can't eat rabbit. Like, if all you had to eat was rabbit, you wouldn't be able to live, because there's no fat in it. Humans got to eat animal fat or get fat somehow, but to get by. But ideally, it has to be animal fat. But if you don't get any fat, man, you're looking for health problems, and it could eventually kill you. Sanders says, I was told that I was closed-minded and slight by a flat earther because I didn't agree with him. Yeah. They don't understand it. They're the ones that are closed-minded. They've been taken in by good salesmen. A good salesman will sell you something that you don't want. They'll convince you to buy it anyway, though. They'll make you think you actually wanted it, but you don't really want it. That's A good salesman will do that. And flat earthers have some good salesmen running around out there because they put doubt. They show people this stuff and say, see, this proves there's a problem, and they like to bring up the scientists brought from Germany after World War II and NASA connection and all that stuff. It just gets crazy. Cindy Finn says they need to cull some and think about some as resources. Yeah, I mean, but they need to completely remove them from the wild though, because if they don't, they'll be fighting them forever. It'll be just like wild boar here. They're going to keep expanding. They reproduce too fast. And a lot of people will say, well, there's no way we could completely remove them. Well, we need to find a damn way. I mean, it's 2022. We need to find a damn way. If people want wild boar, they can be kept in captivity, but they need to make for damn sure they stay in captivity. Stop letting shit out that don't belong there because it fucks some shit up. It's a big problem. You love to eat deer, fat. Yes, Lockbeard. I kept it keto today, Mr. Lee. I went and hit the Golden Corral buffet again. Had fried eggs, pile of bacon, pile of sausage, and a couple of rare steaks. I think that was it. Some cottage cheese, a little bit of cottage cheese, and some blue cheese. Had some blue cheese too. Golden Corral is a good place. If you're carnivore, you can eat there. You can eat carnivore there pretty easy, and you have a number of options. I mean, they have pork chops most days that are pretty decent. They have roast beef every day. They have baked fish every day. It's sitting on rice. I just scoop it off the top of the rice and leave the rice behind. The lady behind the counter eyeballs me. Like, what is this asshole doing? You're supposed to eat the rice. I was like, well, rice ain't food, lady. Rice ain't food. Like, she scowled today too. I told her because they have these big ass steaks sitting there, and they'll cut you off a piece when you ask for a steak. And I always tell her, I said, I want the rarest, fattiest piece you get. And she scowls. Yeah. I don't need your facial expression opinion, lady. Cut me a steak. Mr. Lee says, Sandra Piper, do not listen to those fools. Yeah, they're idiots. Donald says, Mr. Lee, we had wild chives that grew on my parents' 70 acres growing up. The cottontails meat tastes like chives. Very good meat. So they pre-season themselves. Oh, man. Oh, there's Chrissy. She says, I'm stuck on Hollow Earth rabbit holes for now. These are fun. Yeah, Hollow Earth. Hollow Earth hasn't become, it doesn't seem like it's become as virulent as Flat Earth. Flat Earthers have gotten just completely insufferable. Hollow Earth, for whatever reason, is not taking off the way they did. They I don't even know where to begin with Hollow Earth. Look at seismology. That should settle that shit. Is there lots of caverns and shit around the world? Sure, but the Earth is not hollow. That's just it's just crazy. Mr. Lee says, Donald, what is cottontail meat? Now, that being said, you've heard me say the moon is very likely hollow. It seems like a contradiction, but it's not. One has evidence for it and the other doesn't. Mr. Lee says, Donald, what is cottontail meat? You mean deer? No, cottontail rabbit. You're thinking of white-tailed deer, but cottontail is rabbit. Haven't you ever heard Here Comes Peter Cottontail? Donald hadn't heard this before. 18 months, I think, for camels. Yeah, that's a long gestation, but they've still managed to like populate like wild down there. And there's like one crazy story where I don't know if there was like a bathroom that the camels were looking for water, and they went into this. They somehow got into this bathroom and was trying to get water from the toilet, and I guess they drank it all out of the toilet. So then they busted the toilet off the floor to get more water. They got to get them all out of the wild, and like make sure that people who own the remaining herds are able to maintain like containment, like proper fences and stuff that can contain them. And I think tracking collars on every single female, period. Like no compromise on that. Like if one gets loose, they'll know it. They register. They need to all be registered. Every single camel needs to be registered. So that and tracking collars, so they know. Like they say, look, this camel is registered to this person on this property, and we see the tracking collar is signaling from outside the property. You could have an automated system run this, and it sends up an alert saying, look, there's a camel out of its designated bounds, and then then go find it. That they could alert the owner before the owner knows the damn thing got out. Senator says, when I said you shouldn't name call, he said it wasn't name calling because it was true what he said. I knew then it was a lost cause. Yeah, those people are absolutely like completely lost. A lot of them, their head is completely like messed up. They've been brainwashed. They don't understand that they've been brainwashed. They'll try and tell you you're brainwashed, but that's what you train a person to do when you brainwash them. You train them to believe everyone else who's trying to talk logically to them is brainwashed, and then what you can't do anything with that. You almost got to re-brainwash them you gotta it's ridiculous. Chessboard says, Christy, rabbit holes only lead to more rabbit crap. Yeah. Flied lice. Yeah. Freaking rice, man. Hello, everybody say hello to Chrissy. Cindy says, Sandra, sometimes you got to knock the dust off and continue on. It's just where I thought it was, but wasn't sure. Mr. Lee says, on Monday, I'm trying an all carnivore diet. Let you know how it goes. Yeah. Well, hopefully it goes all right, Mr. Lee. I'm trying to think of I'm a little disappointed with Frank Tufano. He's a carnivore advocate, but then he'll eat stuff that isn't carnivore sometimes and say, well, it's better if you're getting, natural ingredients that aren't got a bunch of crap in them, and source it well, it's better.
I always used to ask.
I think maybe he's trying to appeal, trying to help people, get into it. So I don't know, Mr. Lee, if you've looked at Frank Tufano's channel, but it may be of interest to you. And then there's a guy called Bart K. His channel is just called Bart K. And I'll show you their channels here in just a second. Anyway, he's kind of funny to watch because he'll review other people's videos, a lot of vegans and stuff, and just tear them apart. So here's Bart K's channel, and he did like what you're talking about, Mr. Lee, like he all carnivore, you know, like there was a video where they did a challenge and they talked about, you know, how he felt, what was going on, and so I don't know, you might be interested in that if you're going to try carnivore. And then this is Frank Tufano's channel. He seems to be a real go-getter. You know, he's doing he you know, starting his free range meat business and his supplement business, and you know, dealing with all the bullshit from people like Saladino and all these other douchebags out there that are not, you know, they're a problem. So, but back to UFOs.
Spotted in the night sky.
It's an orange light again.
An orange light glowing brightly and moving quickly from the southwest headed northeast.
What is that?
Whatever that was captured in this video by Kyle resident Sal Sanchez.
And I was recording it the whole time, just thinking, what is this thing?
This was taken late last month, but it's not the first or only time he's seen it. The first time was in January.
It looks like a fireball, but with no noise.
Though he doesn't have it on video, he says this Sunday night was the most dramatic.
Lights show like you wouldn't believe. I mean, you'd have to have been here to see it, one right after another.
Sanchez says from what he's seen and heard or not heard, there's no way it's a drone.
So many videos that are out there that depict the same thing that I've been seeing.
We decided to reach out to UFO Jane.
I've been doing this for over 10 years. I've seen a lot.
A Texas ufologist who started documenting UFO sightings across the state online.
This video intrigued me. First thought, well, maybe this is a Chinese lantern, but it is definitely not. It doesn't. The video's for over a minute. The light is solid the whole time.
She says she can't rule out a drone, but she also can't say for certain that it is.
I can say that people have seen objects like this, you know, before 2006.
Which is when drones were first allowed to fly in civilian airspace. So for now, it's a mystery in more ways than one.
If it is something that is not from this world, why here in Kaya? You know, why would it be here?
Yeah, another one, not conclusive. Don't know what it is. Everyone agrees that Sandra's a sweetheart, says Cindy. Ernie says, I'm surprised Australia has not put collars on COVID cases. Yeah, seriously. They have no problem treating their citizens the way they need to deal with the damn camels over there. Judy says, oh, I'll have to watch Nikki's show. Yeah. Things got a little weird. Miss Dill literally showed her ass. Yep. Mr. Lee says, I don't like that Frank fella. He's a big mouth Lockbeard. Well, yeah, but he's right on so much shit. And then you got Saladino over there. Saladino was definitely plagiarizing off of Frank. And there definitely just seems to be some kind of, you know, in club where only certain people are allowed to talk about it, and they want to hold back other ones who are really trying to get to the truth of the matter. Saladino, I don't trust at all. But I mean, he is. But man, look, he's pissed off. And I think hopefully you can sense that he truly cares about this issue and has learned a lot and tries to teach people what he learns. And it's just yeah, I do. I wish he would carry himself a little differently, but that's what he's doing what he do. He's being the way he is, and just let him be the way he is. What I care about is his content got accurate information, and it does. Ended with a bang. Wizard says, we finally made it back to our truck, getting rid of this rental loader stuff back in our truck and headed to home sweet home. Yep. There's a blur. Yeah, you said you were going to throw up. Yeah, you like Bart. So you don't like Frank, but you like Bart K? You said Frank's a big mouth, but Bart K isn't? Are you kidding me? Bart K tears the shit out of people and straight up calls them names and stuff. Donald says, I think Miss Dill may have hit on Jay. I think she pissed him off at some point, though. Mr. Lee says Frank Tufano is a bit of a douchebag, though. Just saying. I don't understand how you think Frank Tufano is a douchebag, but Bart K isn't. Bart K does pretty much the same shit that Frank does. He tears into people all the time. Sanders says, Nikki Cindy's show will be awesome, especially if the guys are drinking. Cindy Fences Donald, I think Miss Dill felt like hitting Jay after he cussed her. Yeah, she pissed him off. Oh, shit, she kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Chessboard says, Nikki, I say if you cause a laugh and chase a tear away, your day is complete. Last night was awesome. Miss Dill and Jay sure did go at it. Yep. Need those laughs. Guess I almost popped into Nikki's show after Mokes did, then Brent. Dr. Eric Berg for keto. Eric Berg. Cindy Finn says, now, to be honest, you didn't see a full booty shot? Nope. Next time, she's make sure and get it in front of the camera, properly squared off, center. Dr. Barry, too. Need a laughter in my life, says Judy. Donald says, if I could get a solid Wi-Fi signal, I would pop on some shows. The end of the show was awesome. Grasshopper says, Nikki's show reminded me of the old Scott days where I'd host 15 or so people at a time. Fun days.
West Bakersfield, a 23 ABC viewer, send this to our newsroom. You tell us what you think it is. Right here. Ready? Right there. Bakersfield resident Tim Harvey sent it from his Ring camera. He lives in Hagen Oaks off Ming and Versace Drive. Says that the object descended from the south beyond the trees. And as you could see it in that video, then sort of whips through the sky right there in an instant, leaving some kind of trail behind. Could it be a video effect or something? I don't know. BPD and the UFO Research Center have apparently been alerted. One more time. Both are stumped right there by the video.
Little weird.
No, so it's too much alcohol content in that Canadian beer. Is Donald pissed? I don't know if Donald would be pissed. What he's pissed off. What would he be pissed about?
What?
Oh my gosh, it's the alien invasion 2.0. Wait, why is there like abductor thingies on the bottom, like lights, like abductor thingies? Hey, why is there abductor on the bottom? Well, say that's a freaking alien attack. Yeah, that's an alien attack.
I know. Look at that. Look at all the aliens. Let me zoom in more. This camera sucks, but we're gonna try to zoom in more. Oh my god. Look at that.
Wait, let me see.
They're attacking Odessa.
Let me see. Now it's a video of my friend. Is that flying real? Why is that? You can. As close as you can. Dad.
What?
Oh my gosh, it's the alien invasion 2.0. Wait, why is there like abductor thingies on the bottom, like lights, like abductor thingies? Hey, why is there abductor on the bottom? Well, say that's a freaking alien attack. Yeah, that's an alien attack.
I know. Look at that. Look at all the aliens. Let me zoom in more. This camera sucks, but we're gonna try to zoom in more. Oh my god. Look at that.
Wait, let me see.
They're attacking Odessa.
Let me see. Now it's a video of my friend. Is that flying real? Why is that? You can. As close as you can. Dad.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Yep, what was those? Those kids seem to think they were UFOs. Whatever it was interesting. She says, Miss Steele, I was drinking Bud piss water. How far to Vermont from to Canada? Donald says I can be at the border in 15 minutes. Grasshopper says those are paratroopers or jumpers. That sounds legit. Like they weren't going anywhere very fast. Like when stuff doesn't like shoot off at a just unbelievable speed, then it's way more likely to be something easily explained, like what he just said. The skies are busy, says Judy. Very cool. I couldn't do it. Go kidnap Miss Dill. Yeah, apparently she wants out of Canada. Tell her we got too many dogmen down here. She don't want to come down here. Mr. Lee says, Donald, cool. You've seen some heavy Sasquatch structures. Then the X's. Well, how do you know they're Sasquatch structures, though? Like, everyone claims this is a structure, and that's a structure. Nobody's ever seen a Sasquatch make a structure. There's no reason. I haven't seen one bit of credible evidence to indicate that Sasquatch are making any kind of structures at all. Nothing. They're just assuming, like, oh, how could this pile here? This couldn't possibly get here. Look, you could have high winds, an animal could have drug it over, a person could have drug it over. There's a lot of shit that could happen. You don't know. I mean, it's just, look at this. These sticks are in a shape on the ground. Well, they could just fell like that. There's a million sticks out here. And just by sheer chance, occasionally, some sticks are going to fall down in the pattern of a English letter with great ease. It's just going to happen on occasion. Do you think Sasquatch is trying to communicate with you now? I mean, it's just son of a bitch. It's crazy. Donald says Grasshopper ETA Canada's bud is much different than ours. Graz is going out for smoke. Look for X's or structures. Yeah, I think structures is until someone can come up with anything. Then there's nothing. Nobody's got nothing on these to prove a connection with Sasquatch. Not anything. Nothing. All this looks to me is like just the way shit falls in the wood. Dead shit falls down in the woods. It happens. We're going on to head off here. Long day. Good night. Well, I'm getting ready to shut her down, so you're not going to miss anything, really. Judy says, behind the structures is where you can catch a clip of them. What do we know? Well, it's hard to say that we really know anything, isn't it? Because I even, have some degree of doubt about, Jeff Meldrum. What if our primary source for authentication of the footprints is full of shit? Like, if he's full of shit, well, that just really screws shit up. And then, can we take the word of witnesses that pretty much seem credible, who aren't spinning some crazy ass tale that flies in the face of logic or reason, that it just don't, some of the stories like what Gary Johnson says is completely ridiculous. There's no reason why anyone should consider him a credible witness of shit. It don't make any goddamn sense. It's crazy. I mean, apparently there's only one damn Sasquatch in Gary's world, and its name is Argo for some damn reason. Well, how do you explain how people are seeing these things and all over the damn place, and many different sizes of them, different genders? There's not one. There's just not one. But Gary Johnson is privileged enough, apparently, to have been blessed by God with the truth about Sasquatch. And he knows its name. Its name is Argo. I don't know what his attachment to the word Argo. I don't know if he, somehow the word Argo is important to Gary. It's a 4-letter word like his name. It has 3 of the letters in his name. This could be totally ego-oriented, right? In his twisted mind. He sees something that he finds a word that speaks to him because it has his name partially in it. So, but so the problem is, Mr. Lee, is even though I consider some witnesses to be pretty damn credible and what their accounts are, could be used for me to come to my conclusions about Sasquatch, along with the footprint evidence and video, such as the Patterson Gimlin film. That brings me to the conclusion that we're dealing with a race of really big hairy people. That's it. Real simple. And they have to be very intelligent to avoid us as well as they do. They have to be extremely intelligent. This goes beyond reclusive nature. Their morphological characteristics, straight up human. So I could say, if I say I know that, I really can't, scientifically speaking, because we don't have like truly hard evidence of the animal. Although footprints alone can be used to identify new species, we really need we need more. So I'm not inclined to say we know anything for certain. Drew says that those mossy clump masses in the trees are incredible clips. Donald says, I know hardly anything but my experience and listening to speculation. Well, and here's a thing, like with experience, what if you ran across just a feral dude, like a dude out there in the woods, and he was just that hairy, or he was wearing furs or something. He's just been living backwoods as hell. There's some pretty big people out there. It's not that hard for you to run like this guy. I know he's 6'8", 400 plus pounds. If I dressed him up in a good Sasquatch suit and filmed him, you guys would absolutely fucking believe it was Sasquatch. You would absolutely believe it was Sasquatch if it was a good costume. I could totally hoax. I think I could totally hoax the world with this thing, better than any of the hoaxes that we hear about most of the time. But I'm not going to hoax anybody. But still, there's some big people out there. So you run out in the woods, like if you see this guy's huge. You could easily misidentify what you're seeing. You might overestimate the height. When we're seeing someone that big, it could be very easily you could mistake how tall they are, and you even get an extra foot added on there. And when you're in the woods and there's hills and there's nothing to really gauge. It ain't like you're standing next to a familiar car, right? That everyone knows. You see him, or stand next to that vehicle there, and so he's just, he's about this tall. It's hard to gauge height in the woods compared to around common objects we deal with in our society. Carrie Arnold. Mr. Lee, you deserve some demerits for bringing up that name. Did I? What I say? I don't know what I said. Donald says, yep, same. That being smelling the air, tasting the air is frightening. Donald says, Mr. Lee, not sure in that. I question why his cousin was in the Sasquatch field before him. And was it something he took up from him? I want to know everything, just so asking. I want to know everything too, Mr. Lee, but we're in a world where someone like me is never going to be given the opportunity, by anyone with the funding to do this right. They'll do this bullshit like all these Sasquatch TV shows. They're going out, we're going to investigate Sasquatch. Even fucking Survivor Man, they're just making a TV show, man. They're not investigating shit. They're just acting like they are. They're putting on a good show. They're actors. Even Survivor Man, I don't believe Survivor Man ever was going to find any damn Sasquatch. And even if he did get too close, the producer would probably like, look, if you find Sasquatch, this gravy train is over. You are absolutely not to find Sasquatch. Just act like you're going to, and don't tell anyone about this because you signed the NDA. You're not to disclose this conversation. Just accept the money and make the damn show, Mr. Survivor Man. Because he did that show, I think we can all be about 99% certain he's full of shit. If he was not full of shit, he would have gone out there and just fucking found it, right? If he's got the skills to. I don't know that he's got the skills to. He's good at surviving, you know, apparently reasonably well. But is he a good scientist? Is he someone who's going to be able to track down something like Sasquatch? You know, I don't know that translates, but you know, there's just so much bullshit out there, man. So yeah, there's no way that like they would try if they came at like even last night, you know, like Pat said, he's like, you know what, I'd take the money and do a show, but see, you know, you gotta make your money, right? But I don't think they would ever risk offering me something like that, because if they had properly evaluated me, they would know that I would be quietly taking notes behind the scenes, collecting evidence, following up on some shit that they won't let me follow up with for the show on my own time. And then later on, I would bust that shit wide open. You know, after the show's over and the NDA expires and all that bullshit, I come out and tell the true story about how every time they thought I was going to actually make a good discovery, like a legit one, and prove this thing exists, they pulled me back. But over the weekend, I went back on my own, and this is what I fucking found. It's maddening. They do not want it to be found. Just from that perspective, the money, there won't be any money in Bigfoot shows anymore. You know, it'd be just like with this UFO thing. People are gonna be like, okay. I mean, people are still gonna watch UFO shows, but with the mysteries gone, a lot of that's gonna go away. And with UFOs, the mystery's still there, right? We still don't know for sure what they are. But if they discover Sasquatch, well, we're going to know for sure because they found it, right? They found a body or something like that. Miss Lee says, why the Sasquatch not been discovered yet? So many people seen Sasquatch. Well, we can't really be 100% certain what the answer is, but what I think it is, I think there's two things going on here. One is they are a race of people who long ago incorporated into their culture a very strong idea of avoidance of remain. The best thing to do to protect ourselves is to remain undetected by these other humans over here, because they kill everything. And if they get together, if they figure out we're here, if they find a footprint, if they see us, they're going to come and try and kill us, because that's what they do. Our kind of human, every time we see something, we want to go find it and kill it. Not every individual wants to kill, but, you know, in general, that's what we do. So they have a very good ability after, you know, many generations, thousands of years, that they have a very good ability to steer clear of us for the most part. You add on to that the government, if they're real, the government must know about them. There's no way that I'm going to believe the government hasn't been able to detect them with their unlimited resources and technology. If they're real, the government damn sure knows they're there, and the government isn't telling us about them, which tells us the government wants to keep them hidden as well for some reason. Now, why exactly? People have different ideas. Timber industry, blah, 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 blah. Whatever the reason is, what's important for what you're asking here is that the government's actively trying to hide them as well. Probably. Can't say that 100%, but probably. So that would be, you know, that's a perfect storm, right? You got a race of people that don't want to be found, and you got a bunch of douchebag leaders who don't want you to find it for some reason. So they're going to do everything that can be done will be done to prevent them from being properly discovered. Government control, yeah. First Nations sweat lodges is an interesting meeting for Sasquatch, isn't it? Don't know about that. I haven't heard about that. Donald says, Mr. Lee, he is the world champion hide and seek champion. Yep. Judy says, Lockbeard, right? You have to have funding. It's not going to come from any agency. No, it ain't going to come from any agency. You know, if they are what I think they are, all these researchers going out, and you know, they're never going to catch them that way. It's just not going to happen. You got to do some next level shit here. It's going to take some serious technology. You know, Pat thinks he might be able to get them, like he'll be able to get them from a drone, and he may be right, because you know, if the drone is quiet enough, or if they don't recognize that the drone is as a threat, and but that still doesn't bring us physical evidence. That's what we need to find. And so that's what my interest is. I mean, getting footage is great and all. Seeing them myself eventually would be great and all. But I'm far more interested in gaining the physical evidence, so I can slap my name on that bitch, put my claim on it, piss on it. Lockbeard, you're right. You have to. I mean, Mr. Lee says, Donald, I will come on Moog Show soon. You will eat your words. Mr. Lee, you're not going to go on Moogs. Come on. Look, we keep telling you, you need to get on there and give the British Bigfoot report every week, and you just don't show up for work. I don't know what the deal is. You can bring your sword. Bring your sword. If anybody gives you any shit, you swing it at them. Jen says, of the stories I've heard, I believe Joe and the drawing, what he saw, or at least close, and looking at the face really gives something to think about. Yeah, I think it's interesting he called it Rasta. You know, like, I guess it had maybe he said a matted appearance. Because I think, you know, I don't know if I ever brought this up. Because humans, like most people, they just take it for granted the way our hair is. Like, we're, you know, very low hair, like on our, you know, a lot of places on our bodies, but we have this really long hair here and here for males, and they never think about, you know, and think about like when this was developing, why did it develop, what kind of environmental conditions, or was there cultural things going on as well, which there could have been, but something led to this, had to evolve like this. Now, if you and there had to be a time where people didn't like have combs, right? That was something that had to be invented at some point. And why would someone invent that? Why would they spend, you know, all this time painstakingly separating their hairs? So this had to be some other cultural development at some point. But before they really come up with that, everyone had dreadlocks. Everyone. If you go into the wild right now and don't take a comb, your hair will naturally turn into dreadlocks. There's people that do it now, like they don't want to do the, you know, the perfectly spaced and sectioned off and equivalently sized dreads. They'll do what they call free forming, where they just don't comb their hair. They wash it. They still wash it. It ain't like, it's not dirty. They just don't comb it. And every person without fail who does that will form dreadlocks. Naturally free-form dreadlocks. That's the true nature of humanity. And I don't see any reason why Sasquatch wouldn't exhibit that same trait. And there's some ideas, some various cultural beliefs and religious beliefs out there that dreads form, this long hair that forms in the dreads, has something to do with spiritual connectivity, connection to the spiritual realm. It has some spiritual significance and function. Donald says, Mr. Lee, it don't bother me. You don't come on. I think it's cool. You're a mystery man. Yeah, Faith and Mr. Lee. Wizard says, Lockbeard, I respectively strongly disagree on the subject of Survivor Man. I do believe did the showmanship per verbal tone, etc., but he's been too honest to discredit with so very little profit. I don't know, man. If Survivor Man is all that, why didn't he find Sasquatch? And why did he talk to douchebags on his show? I mean, why did his team let him talk to him? Why did he agree to it? Would you not, if that was your show, wouldn't you take the minimal amount of time to research the people you were bringing on your show and find out, okay, this guy is full of shit? Well, I still got those clips sitting over here. Here, let's watch these Joe Rogan clips. Joe Rogan says it pretty good. Part of my issue with Survivor Man. I
love
Stroud.
I love
him.
I love Survivor Man. That show was so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
He had a guy on the show that is known in the Bigfoot world as being full of shit.
Yeah.
Which is bad. Like, if the Bigfoot world's pretty open-minded. Because of that, they're like, no, you're the legit Survivor guy, and now you're doing this show, and this is why it's ridiculous. There was one episode of the show where they had this guy who he was with who had video of a Sasquatch, like high definition video, and it looks so fake.
Yeah.
It's like he's like the Sasquatch is looking at him through the woods, and he's like, there he is. And it's a guy with a mask on.
That's how he goes. He yells out, I'm a Sasquatch. You're like, oh God, he just yelled that out.
Makes the samurai noise.
Bigfoot.
But this, the guy who had the video is known to be like full of shit. And here he's got this guy on a show, and then he, is this real? You be the judge. Like, yeah, I'm going to say it's not real. It's a guy with a fucking mask on.
I think I did read that guy was very not respected.
Yes.
In that.
By the Bigfoot community.
Yeah.
The Bigfoot community. Again, very open-minded.
Yeah. Very just.
Yep. I'll say ditto to that. Yeah. Jen says, yes, Judy, it's a face you wouldn't ever forget. Mr. Lee's the unknown squatcher. Wizard says, the subject of Lestrauss having an experience with mind speak is bothering me, and if I found it to be a lie, then I'd turn away. But until then, a person needs to have facts to discount, same as evidence. But, again, mind speak, the people I consider the more credible witnesses are the ones saying, look, there wasn't any mind speak. It was just a big hairy dude in the damn woods, doing big hairy dude shit. There wasn't any crazy woo. There weren't no damn portals. There wasn't any cloaking. There wasn't any telepathic communication. And the fact that Les Stroud included that just adds to the pile of reasons why I think he was just full of shit. It's just mind speak. Judy says, which president signed a treaty with Sasquatch peoples? I read that and absolutely see why they hide. Well, I would remind the Sasquatch of how well the United States does not honor its treaties. Just ask the Indians. Just ask the Native Americans about that shit. Yeah. So if there was a president which signed a treaty, I don't think that's the case. I think that the government has a selfish reason for wanting to hide their existence. Perhaps if I was to put myself in the minds of some evil fucks running the world, one thing I would see the Sasquatch people, if they are what I think them, or at least very, very closely, because like we do a bunch of animal studies, and a lot of times the animal studies aren't able to tell us the very accurate information. They only tell us so much. A lot of time, like when they did the cholesterol study on rabbits. Well, rabbits don't they don't tell us shit about what it does to humans. And I can tell you this right now: cholesterol don't do shit to you. That's bullshit. That's a goddamn lie. You need cholesterol. It's a necessary nutrient. Get that shit out of your head. Anytime someone says, "Oh, it raises your cholesterol and this shit," and your doctor brings up, "Oh, we need to do something about that," tell your doctor to fuck off. That's bullshit. Anyone else can figure that out if they do enough research into how basic human metabolism works. You need goddamn cholesterol. So anyway, I'm getting on a tangent. They did that cholesterol study with rabbits. It doesn't pertain to rabbits. A rabbit's a freaking herbivore that eats its own shit. Humans are a carnivore that do not eat our own shit usually. and So putting myself in the mind of these people, the Sasquatch would race if we kept it secret. There's a number of things that would benefit us with. One of them is we could just go snatch Sasquatches and experiment on them all we want. And even if we do get caught doing it, we could just say, well, we just thought they were an ape. They're not human. Come on. We could try to deny, But they would be able to use them for scientific experimentation for whatever benefits they need for them. And maybe they never share some of what they learned from that. There's some kinds of experimentation you just can't ethically do on humans, so they use animals. But when you use animals, it doesn't always correlate with what would happen to humans under the same circumstances. So, of course, a lot of people bring up the timber industry shit, and so yeah. I don't think there's a treaty. I think the government, everything the government does, they do for selfish reasons. They don't give a fuck about the Sasquatch people. That's for damn sure. They don't give a fuck about us. Mr. Lee says, I'm blushing. Thank you, Sandra. Judy says, I believe all forest lands were that land treaty president signed. I'll bring the harpoon, Lockbeard. You gonna bring a harpoon? Awesome. Donald says, I never got to see the face that well on the one that broke through the brush, but the body from head to toe looked very muscular. You are shampooing your hair too much, Lockbeard, says Mr. Lee. No. Why are you asking that? No, absolutely not. Judy says, cool, Lockbeard. Jen says, he said he named him Rasta because his hair was dreadlocked. Mr. Lee says, Joe Rogan is cool. I watch him all the time, just saying. Central Florida Bigfoot's on tonight. Is he on already? Has he already started? I'm going to check real quick. I was getting ready to wind it up and wind it down anyway, because we gone over, shit, we're over 3 hours now. Yeah, he is on. So I'm gonna try to catch up with chat, but then we'll quit. If you watch some of the commentary, he explains the background work and B-roll sports. He took it seriously, but still admits he was doing the showmanship. Les did try both sides. Well, maybe he was. Maybe he was caught in the middle, but he needs to do something. he needs to explain himself. He does. But the mind speak thing, man, that's, oh man, I don't know, man. Actually, they only tell us so much. Yes. Wizard says, I'm not a Survivor Man fanatic and I don't watch less frequently, but I'm only hearing speculation from famous and non-famous people determining the non-backed facts or facts. Got to be fair both ways. Yeah. You just can Google which president was. I wish I could remember his name. You talking about Roosevelt with the national force and all that stuff? Andrew Jackson. Chessport says Lockbeard government does it for themselves and corporations. Yep. Great show again, Lockbeard. Good night, all, says Mark. Yep. George Carlin, the government does not care at all, at all, at all. Yep. Yep. I remember that particular bit from George Carlin very, very well. Because you're not part of the big club. You don't want you to know you're getting screwed by a big red, white, and blue dick every day. Donald Fuller says, I'm headed over to CFB and then see you folks there. All right. I'm probably going to wander over there myself. Hopefully everybody flies some flags. They were doing a Lockbeard raid. I did not know he was on. Otherwise, I would have done cut off. But we'll head over there, or I'll head over there. You guys do whatever you want, but hopefully we'll see some of you there. Thanks for coming, and I will see you next time.